afternoon. There's an old saying, it's called, "Don't judge a man until you have walked a mile in his shoes." And I always wondered what the origins of that was, so I Googled it. It turned out, couldn't find much except that it was possibly a Cherokee Native American saying, which originally was, "Don't judge a man until you've walked a mile in his moccasins." Shoes, moccasins, flip-flops, whatever. It's all the same. This speech is a little bit of a sales pitch and a little bit of experience, and something I want everybody to experience. I want to talk a little bit first about empathy, because that's really what that's about. That little saying, what's it like to walk a mile in somebody's shoes? It's about empathy. And what empathy is the feeling of knowing what it's like to be in somebody else's position. And it gets confused with sympathy, because sympathy is similar to empathy, except you're understanding but without the feeling. So empathy is about really embodying what it's like to be in somebody else's situation, and sympathy is to, feel sorry for them or to have some regrets that they might be in the situation, but you don't have a real gut feeling about what's going on with them. This brings me to my little sales pitch, because we're having a big party in a couple of weeks, and it's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. And it's a men's event about awareness for and about domestic violence, rape, and sexual assault. And, oh yes, these are really fun things to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about rape, let alone men, right? You guys want to talk about rape? Nobody wants to talk about rape. Even the people who are raped don't want to talk about rape. It's not fun. So how do you take something like rape and talk about it? So we're gonna talk about that in a minute. The other thing is domestic violence. That's another fun subject that nobody wants to talk about. Happens all the time. Actually, 1 in 4 women will be involved in a domestic violence relationship at some point in their relationship career they have. Most sexual assaults happen by somebody that they know. 80% actually of all sexual assaults that happen to women happen by somebody that they know. 7% of children, girls, grades 5 through 7, have all admitted to being sexually molested. 12% of girls in grades 9 to 12 has said they have been sexually assaulted. So that means that either those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, imagine this whole room, 1 in 6, okay, 1 in 4. And that's just a small group. So it's your sister, it's your mother, it's your best friend, it's your auntie, it's your niece maybe. Unfortunately, it might be your best friend's daughter. It's somebody that you know. It's not somebody that you don't know. And the problem with talking about this stuff is that nobody wants to talk about it because they want to pretend it doesn't happen in their life. It never happens in their situation. It hasn't happened in their family. It hasn't happened in their relationship. And so this sounds very doom and gloomy, but the happy side of this is how do we make this subject more interesting, especially to men? Because the truth of the matter is that I've already been called a man-hater. I think somebody called me a man-hater last year online because of something I said on Facebook about domestic violence. And I don't hate men, I love men. It has nothing to do with men or women. Men get sexually assaulted. Men also have domestic violence. It happens to men as well, but as far as women are concerned, it's the majority of women because of factors that happen culturally, factors of women being maybe the mindset of men is that they're inferior and that sort of thing. We could go on and on about that. However, what we need to do is start a dialogue so that men can talk to women about sexual abuse, so that men can talk about rape, that we can talk about incest, that we can talk about this sort of thing and not be ashamed or embarrassed or feel uncomfortable about it. And know it's a really uncomfortable thing for people to talk about. So we've created this event in Kaanapali. It actually started in 2001 by a man who was pretty upset. His name was Frank Baird. And he started the event called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes because he worked as a counselor. And he worked with domestic violence victims and rape victims. And he really got the fact that women who are in these situations, when they get out of those situations, even when they're healed, they have a very difficult time forming relationships with men again. And he really wanted men to understand what women go through after they've been in those situations. And he actually started this Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event. And what it is, it's for men to get together, put some high heels on, and walk. Now, they don't have to walk a mile. They actually just walk around the loop in Kaanapali. But they do have to wear shoes, and we do happen to have a bunch of red ones. But we also have slippers, because it is Hawaii. So we'll walk a mile in your slippers instead of shoes if you don't want to wear high heels. So this event is on October 3rd, which is a Saturday, at 9:30 a.m. And we invite men and women, of course, but men to kick up their heels and come down. We actually will have shoes for you. And you can donate money, you can go as a group, you can have a team, with your work. And you'll get together and you'll meet us down there. You'll walk a mile, we're going to have a band. It's going to be actually a lot of fun. And we're going to open up the dialogue so that people can talk about this incredibly uncomfortable subject that nobody wants to talk about, which is sexual abuse, violence against women, rape, incest. I know we're not going to sit there and have tea and talk about this all at once, but we're going to raise the awareness so that men can feel comfortable talking to women, whether it's their sister, their mother, their auntie, or just their best friend, that they can sit and they can talk and they can have empathy so that they can understand what it's like to walk a mile in her shoes.